Counter-Strike 2 is finally out, so here are the best video settings for improved visibility, the best launch commands to improve performance, as well as the best Nvidia settings, Windows settings, and network settings to overall give you a huge advantage going into CS2. If it helps, feel free to drop a like on the video and subscribe for more. Starting off in the video settings under advanced video, you want your boost player contrast to be enabled and your wait for vertical sync to be disabled. You also want your anti-aliasing mode on CMAA2, your shadow quality on high, model/texture detail on medium, and you want your texture filtering mode on bilinear. You also want your shader detail on low, your particle detail on low, your ambient occlusion on medium. This is super important. You want your high dynamic range on quality, and you want your fidelity FX super resolution on disabled, highest quality in brackets. Oh, as well, at the bottom there's the Nvidia reflex low latency setting. Now what this does is it basically reduces system latency so your actions occur quicker. However, this setting does depend on what PC you have. If you've got a low tier PC, you want to have this disabled as you may get FPS drops using it. But if you have a medium to high end PC, you might actually benefit from it. So you might want to enable it or put it on boost depending on your PC specs. Next up, we've got the audio/sound settings. Now for these, I recommend having your master volume on whatever your preference is, as well as your audio device being on default device so it does pick the correct one, or you can select it manually. For EQ profile, I really like crisp. I think it sounds best with LR isolation on 10% and the perspective correction on yes. If you didn't know, by the way, there's 3 different ones to choose from. There's natural, which has no sort of changes whatsoever. There's crisp, that enhances mid and high frequency bands, and then there's also smooth, which reduces mid to high frequency bands. But in my opinion, I do think crisp sounds the best right now. As for the rest of the audio/sound settings, these are all personal preference. Next up, we've got the CS2 launcher commands. Now firstly, you need to open up Steam. Inside Steam, head over to library, then find CS2, right click on it and select properties. Under general, if you scroll down, you should see launch options, and inside of this we're going to type in 3 very popular and most used commands. The first one is no vid. What this does is it skips the game's launcher video, which allows you to jump into the game quicker. The second one is -high. What this does is it enables high priority for your CPU usage, which gives you a easy FPS boost. And the third and final one is FPS_max0. What this does is it basically uncaps your frame rate so you have the most FPS possible. To save all that, you just have to close it down, then boot up the game, and you are all good to go. Next up, we've got the best Nvidia settings. Make sure to use the latest updated drivers, as I'm pretty sure there will be a new optimized CS2 one soon. But once inside the Nvidia control panel, click on this setting right here, then on advanced 3D image settings. Inside here, you want to go ahead and turn off all of these settings on screen right here to get an FPS boost. You can then scroll down to where it says low latency mode. As you can see, it does give you a lower response time if you do use this, but it does depend on your PC specs like I mentioned earlier. Moving on from low latency, you can go ahead and copy all the settings I've got. For power management mode, if you've got a lower end PC, you can put this on prefer maximum performance, but for most of you out there that have medium to high end PCs, you might find optimal power is better. Preferred for refresh rate, this needs to be on the highest one possible, super important setting. All of these texture filtering settings can be copied too, these are great. I like quality on high performance. Then scrolling down from that, all these I like to have like so. Another thing you can do under adjust desktop color settings is select your main gaming monitor, then you'll see loads of color enhancement settings right here. Now brightness obviously adjusts the brightness of your screen. This I tend to not mess with. Contrast does the same, that messes with the contrast obviously, and same with gamma, that messes with the gamma. These I tend to actually leave alone and just keep them on the default. That's 50, 50 and then 1. But digital vibrance I actually like to increase. I normally like either 75 or just go max out 100%. And what this obviously does is it increases the digital vibrance of your game, which does make the game look way brighter, as you can see on screen. Now depending on how much you mess with this, will in turn result in how vibrant it is, and it's one of those that most people in CS2 will mess with, so this is the only setting that I recommend touching inside of here. Next, we've got some network tweaks that can lower ping. If you go onto your desktop now, Windows key plus R, then put in this command right here, then go into network adapters, select your main connection. If you right click on this and update the driver, that is highly recommended to make sure you're on the most latest drivers for that. In addition, you can go into the properties too and optimize some of the settings within here. The power management, you want to uncheck both of these, then go into advanced, and if you basically copy my settings on screen right here, this should improve your internet and lower your ping. Additionally, you can connect to a DNS server to further lower your ping. To do this, click on your start menu and type in view network connection. Then you'll see your main internet connection. Go into the properties, then go into IPv4. Make sure it's ticked if it isn't already. Then if you go into the properties, you will see that if you click on use the following DNS server, you can type in a custom one. I recommend either using Cloudflare's one, which the numbers for that are on screen right now, or you can use Google's one, and the numbers for that are on screen right now as well. Alternatively, you can use a free safe tool called DNS Benchmark, where you can actually go ahead and run this scan to see what the best DNS server is for your connection. That'll give you the lowest amount of ping. You can run this and it'll come up which one's the best for you, and for myself it was actually the Google one. Next is the best Windows settings from this video on screen. If you optimize the following Windows settings, you can significantly improve your performance. I recommend firstly right clicking on the start menu, going into the device manager, then system devices, and then where you see high precision event timer, right click on that and then disable it. From a research, this does benefit people a ton in terms of performance, but if it's not benefiting you, you can go ahead and actually re-enable it. But for the majority of you, it should be fine on being disabled. After that, you want to go into your settings, then click on personalization, then if you go into colors and scroll down slightly and uncheck the transparency effects, this will disable those visually pleasing transparency effects, which can in turn after improve performance. Also, if you go into settings, then go into systems, and if you scroll down to about, then click advanced system settings on the right hand side. In here you can click on the performance settings and adjust all of these to be on best performance. Just remember to tick the following 4 essential ones: that's enable peak, show thumbnails instead of icons, show window contents, and smooth edges on screen font. As well, don't forget to go into the gaming section. In game mode, make sure that is turned on, and I also like to enable the hardware acceleration GPU scheduling. This works great for me and it definitely does reduce my latency. Just go ahead, turn that on, and make sure to select your most played games as I have done here. Oh, finally as well, if you go back into settings, then go into privacy, under the background apps setting right here, you can go ahead and turn all these off, as these take up system resources and it may impact your performance, so disabling all of them will basically improve your performance slightly, which is what we want. And that right there has been the best Counter-Strike 2 settings. If this video has helped you out in any way, feel free to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and also feel free to check out these other 2 videos on screen right now. We've got the best Nvidia settings as well as the best Windows 11 settings.